Welcome everyone. It's really amazing to be here. I hope you're doing so well. I hope you're doing so good. It's really great to be having the First Growth School on this wonderful Sunday, the location where I am. I hope you're good. I hope you're doing so well. Please do well to share the video, do well to invite your friends. Let's get as many people to come on this live session, as we will be looking at that subject on strategic positioning for a new season. All right, strategic positioning for a new season. A number of very important and very essential things you need to know at this time, and that you need to take notes will be shared. Please let me know if you can hear me. I want to be sure that I'm audible. I want to be sure that you can get me so well, so that we can just ride on and that everything is good at your end. I want to be sure everything is good at your end, so that we can just take the ride, we can just move on, we can have a really phenomenal and essential moment today. Please, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let me know in the chat. Let me know that you can hear me. You can hear me. You can hear me. Welcome. Thank you so much for choosing to be here. Thank you so much for joining this live webinar. So we're looking at the topic, strategic positioning for a new season. And like I've shared for most people that have seen and that maybe you have actually read my post, or the post that actually led you to this particular webinar, you'll see that something that I emphasized is that 2026 is not just a new year, it's a new season. Most people talk about plan for the year, set your goals for the year, do all of those things for the year, do this and do that and do that and do that, and move here and do all of those things for the year. But when we are talking about a new season, it requires strategy. Right now, if you are in Nigeria, if you are somebody who is based in Nigeria, this 2026, right now, you would understand and you would get that it's a season where there will be a lot of campaigns happening here and there. And you will agree with me that anyone that will emerge for any of the political positions, they are not going to emerge just because they have a goal to emerge. They will emerge because they have built a strategy on how to emerge. They have built a strategy, they have a system, they have a team, they do all of those things. In the same way, if you really want to get the best out of a season, you need strategy, not hope. Because hope is not a strategy. I see a lot of people who are saying, oh, this year, I hope this will happen, I hope that will happen. And you see a lot of people making a lot of declarations that do not have a foundation that will turn them into manifestation. It's really essential and really critical that you pay attention, as we will be sharing, on the things that you will be listening to, because you do not need hope to conquer and to be victorious and to get all of your, all of those declarations and those things you said. You do not need hope in order to bring them into light. You actually need strategy. So that's why we're talking about strategic positioning. There was this time in scripture, if you're very familiar with scripture, where the children of Israel, whatever took them to Egypt, hunger and all of that, and they grew in Egypt. They had a lot of growth and they were increasing and increasing. And the Pharaoh at the time, who happened to be the king, the president of Egypt, then said, these people are increasing, these people are growing. If we allow these people to continue to grow this way, when an enemy comes into our nation, they can actually build an alliance with our enemies, fight against us, and they will defeat us. We need to build a strategy in order to put them into servitude, such that we will make them labor and stay as our slave for a very long time. And that was exactly what they did. And for about 430 years, they continued to remain slaves in Egypt. until a time a man called Moses emerged and was sent on a mission to go to that land and tell the people and speak to the Pharaoh and say, let my people go because they need to come and worship me. I want to give them a land that I promised them. But something that happened, they were not going to walk into that land except they saw something, except they received a picture. And then Moses said, I know Pharaoh, I know who he is. If I get there, who should I tell Pharaoh sent me? He said, tell them that I am has sent me. Now, even after Moses went and Moses saw Pharaoh and looked at Pharaoh and said, Pharaoh, you know what? I am has sent me to you. He said he should let the children of Israel go because he needed them to come and worship him. He needed them to become something. There was a need for a strategy to bring them out, not just mere words. You know what most people are doing right now, and maybe you watching me, is that you have made a lot of declarations. You have said a lot of things. 2026 will be my year of this. 2026 is going to accomplish it. 2026 is going to do this, but you have no strategy. And eventually, when Moses got there, he put down his rod became serpent. Pharaoh must have laughed and said, this is small thing. We do things like this in Egypt. And then Pharaoh called his own magicians. They put down their rods also, and then their rods also became serpent. But the funny thing that happened was that the rod that became serpent of Moses swallowed their own serpents. And Moses picked it up, it became a rod again. Now, Pharaoh still did not allow them go. You know what happened? They needed to experience 10 different plagues before Pharaoh eventually agreed. They needed to experience 10 different plagues before even the Israelites believed that truly Moses was sent to them. Now let me ask you, what are the things that you have created as a picture, that you have created as an image, that you have created as an assurance that you feel so sure of, that makes it so clear and make you so believe that this year is going to be your year of victory? What's the image you have created? What's the vision you have created? What's the clarity you have created? What's the intentionality that is showing you that makes it so clear and sure in you that this year is going to make a difference? Divine courage, I can see you say you can hear. Jewish Chandri. So, like I've said, we're talking about strategic positioning for a new season. And then we are looking at 2026 in perspective. Now, they needed to see the pictures. They saw the plagues. They saw how water became blood. They saw how the whales came. They saw how the flies came. They saw how the Egyptians started having boys. They saw all of those things. And then they had an assurance. And they were now so sure that truly God wanted to deliver them. What are the things that have created an assurance in your soul and in your mind that makes it sure that there will be a turnaround in your life in 2026? That makes it so sure in your mind that there's going to be a difference that will be made in your life? That makes it so sure that a lot of the things you have always imagined, if this is the season when you are going to step into them, that your business is going to take a leap, that your career is going to take a leap, that your academics will take a leap? What are the images you have created that created that impression on your mind? So the Israelites needed to receive certain kind of pictures and certain kind of evidence in order to make it happen. Something you have to take note is that many people lose not because they are not doing things. They lose because they have not created a mental picture of the things they want to achieve. So you're doing a lot of things, you're trying to imagine a lot of things, you're trying to accomplish a lot of things, you're trying to do this, you're trying to push here, you're trying to run there, you're going to move here, you're trying to do all of those things. And while you're doing all of those things, you just realize that your effort does not equate to the result that you want to have. Your effort does not equate to the things that you want to accomplish. You know the reason why? Because you have not created a mental picture. You have not created a sure feeling to the reality that you're looking towards to. So it's something that is very essential. So many people lose not because they are not doing things, they lose because they don't have a clear mental picture of what they want to accomplish. So it's really important and it's truly essential that you begin to create that mental picture. So as you step, right now you started the year already, you're moving on in the year, you're carrying on in the year, you are moving on, you're doing this, you're doing all of those things, you're carrying on, and then you're trying to achieve all of those things. Why are you not so critical? Why are you not so essential? Why are you not so intentional about bringing first a mental picture of what you want to achieve? Now, it's possible to sit down right now. You know what most people do? They will sit down, they begin to draft. I want to achieve this, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then they have about 10 goals. But there is no feeling to the goal that they create. Why? Because that feeling, that emotional attachment, that sensory that you create to your goals are the things that will move you towards the places that will make them happen. So one, I want you to take note of this, that hope is not a strategy. That you hope for a great year does not offer you an advantage. You need to build a strategy to make one. Hope is not a strategy. Someone said, oh, how will this year be? Oh, by the grace of God, I hope that this year I'm going to do this. Hope is not a strategy. It was a strategy behind bringing those things into accomplishment. You need strategies. You want to make a first class, maybe this semester or this session. What's the strategy? What are the things you're putting in place? What are the systems you are putting in place? What are the things you are automating? What are the things you are making yourself compulsorily bring into accomplishment to ensure that those things are real? Why? Because hope is not enough. You know what some people did on 31st? They were praying and praying. Yeah, this. Amazing. There's a supreme realm to bring those things to place, but you also need strategy. Okay? People win wars by strategy. Imagine if the warriors that want to defeat a land, right now the news is going around, United States actually launched an attack on Venezuela, and then they took the president of the nation, took him to New York. Do you think that just happened because they hoped it would happen? They built a strategy, they built a system. So we'll launch this first, we'll do this first, we'll set our men here, and then they were able to accomplish that. So one mistake most people will make as they enter into 2026 is that they will enter into the year with energy without positioning. Most people will enter into the year with energy. So right now, I know most of you, a lot of programs are going on, a lot of motivational talks, even most people you're seeing a lot of videos saying how to plan for the year, how to set goals for the year, how to accomplish this for the year, and then you're so eager, you're trying to be energetic, you're saying, yes, let's push on, and then you're trying to drive with motivation. But you know something I want you to take note, strategy supersedes energy. I'll say that again. Strategy supersedes energy. There's a Proverbs wise saying that says that the way of a fool wearieth every one of them. Why? Because he does not know how to go into the city. Not because he does not have energy. Not because he lacks resources. Not because he does not have the drive. Not because he's not pumped up. He has energy, but he lacks strategy. So if all you have right now is energy, you're trying to get energy, you're getting motivation from here, you're getting drive from here, you're getting talks from here, you're listening to this, you're listening to that, you're doing all of those things. And that's the reason why most people, when they come into the year, they set a lofty goal because they are motivated. I'm going to read 5 books this year. But you know what happened last December? You were still struggling with 1 book. You know why? All you were trying to do was that you were coming into the year with energy, but you lacked the strategy to accomplish. You lacked the strategy to accomplish. So you need strategy, not just energy. So right now, most of you are trying to be energetic. Let's go, let's do this, let's go there, let's be there, let's do this. And then you're putting out calls, you're trying to be energetic. You need strategy, all right? You need strategy. Why? Because the way of a fool, we read every one of them because he does not know how. There is always the knowing how. The advantage is in knowing the how, is in building the strategy how. Imagine someone who wants to build a mansion, wants to build a very great edifice, and all he has to do is to get all of FT men and say, just start building. Tell me what's going to happen. Tell me what's going to happen. All he got were energetic men to carry the blocks, to dig the ground, to begin to mix the cement, to begin to put all of those things together, to get all the mortars, and then to begin to do it. But no strategy, no way out, no architecture, no system, no operations. At the end of the day, he may not even get to building it. You know why? Because you need a strategy to the financing. You need a strategy to get in the right individuals, to get the right civil engineer, to be able to build the right architecture, to know the budget that will finish the building. You need strategy. So most work don't finish because people go in with energy and then they lack strategy. You don't want this year to be that year. And because this is not just a year, this is a season. And when most people, because they will miss this season, they will not become fruitful and profitable in the year. So you need strategy in order to build and to move on. So a season that you begin unprepared will be missed unrealized. Now let me point out, a season that begins unprepared will be missed unrealized. Africa seems to be a very arable land, okay, and most of the works that people did at a particular time was agriculture. And I'm going to take the example of agriculture. You realize that there are seasons, just like in Europe we have spring, summer, autumn, we have fall. In Africa, we have the dry season, we have the wet season. Like we have the raining season, we have the dry season. And the raining season is when there's a lot of downpour, there's a lot of shower. And then when people plant in the raining season, it gets the nutrients of water. And then you see a lot of plants coming up. You see corn, you will see cassava, you see a lot of things. Imagine a farmer who says he's a farmer and he's hardworking. He's not aware that there is a raining season that will show up. And all he's doing is that he's only stocking seeds, keeping seed. And then every day we open the door and say, oh, have plenty seed, amazing. And then it will come again, oh, a lot of seeds, amazing. And then it will look again, my seeds are increasing. But he's not planting, preparing for the raining season. You know what's going to happen? He will have a lot of seeds, but he would never have fruit. This season is a very critical season that when you are not aware and you are not prepared of that season, all you would only be aware of is that you have seeds. You would have seeds, but no fruits, no profitability. Because the seed sown is what becomes fruits, is what becomes an harvest. And when it is sold, you can actually get other revenue. You can get other things that you need. This is a critical season. What does 2026 mean to you? What season should 2026 accomplish in your life? Why? Because 2026 is a new season. So a season is not defined by age or year. It's not by numbers. It is defined by taking note of these three things: demands, expectations, and environment. A season is defined by demands, expectations, and environment. Now, let me ask you, what is the demand in this season in your industry? What's the demand this season? In your career path, what's the demand in this season? In your pursuit as you're going on, maybe as a student, what's the demand in this season? When you are not sure of the demand of a season, you may label and try a lot of things and do a lot of things, and eventually you find out that there is no reward for that labor. You know, when people say they are hustling, you are hustling towards words. Is there a demand for the things that your hustle is going to provide? Demand. What's the demand? You need to ask yourself, what's the demand right now in your space? Are you in the tech space? What's the demand? Are you in the finance sector? What's the demand? Are you in government? What's the demand? Are you in education, the academia? What's the demand? You need to think about demand. Seasons are defined by demand. Just imagine in 2020, what was the demand? What was the demand? People wanted ease. People wanted to socialize despite the lockdown. What is the demand today in your own industry? What's the demand today in your industry? What's the demand right now in your life? What should be the major priority in your own life? Now, what are the things that signify, what are the common seasons of growth? Now, when you see growth take place, and one of the things you need to intentionally think about in this season is your commitment to growth. So this year, most of the things that I'll be trying to push out, I'll be trying to share, are going to be things that have to do with growth. All right, personal growth, career growth, business growth. You'll be seeing a lot of those things. Now, there are majorly 4 seasons of growth. And why I begin to talk about them, share about them, you may want to just look and evaluate and say, in what season of growth am I at right now? What season of growth are you at right now? What season are you at right now? Now, number 1 is the exploration season. It's so painful that a lot of people may not even have begun exploring, may not even have begun their season of discovery. Now, the exploration season has to do with the point of discovery. The point of discovery. And there's always that point you get to in your life where you are not just sure about who you are. You are not sure about what you're doing. You are not sure about the future of the work you're doing. You're not sure about the future of certain things, maybe in your relationship, or maybe in your business, maybe in your finance, maybe in your movement, maybe even in your initiative. There's always the exploration season. And this is a season that is essential that everyone has to pass through. You know, right now there are a lot of people doing a lot of things online, posting every day. You show up on LinkedIn, you show up on Instagram, you show up on X, you show up on all platforms, you even record videos, you do all of those things, and sometimes you sit back and you are not just sure about what you're doing. Sometimes you sit back and feel like, is this really worth it? Should I be giving myself to this? Is this who I am? Is this who I want to become? There's always that exploration season. There's always a season of discovery. Is 2026 going to start off for you as your own season of exploration? Or you're just trying to do a lot of trial and error? This is not the year to do a lot of trial and error. You need to be sure about what you're doing. Remember last year, what age you were? What age are you right now? Very soon, you will celebrate another birthday, or maybe you've celebrated one. Are you still sure that you want to continue with guessing your life all through? Or you want to truly discover the person that you are? You want to discover what you represent in your industry. You want to discover what you should be doing, what career path you should be preparing for. You want to be sure about the things that should represent your calling. There are instances of life, there are points in life all right. Now, there are points in life, there are situations in life where you have to be sure about what you're doing. You have to be sure about what you're doing. You cannot guess your way at certain instances of your life. You see, in this 2026, we are moving to a point where we have a generation that will not forgive guesswork. They will not forgive guesswork. They will not forgive guesswork. You must be sure about what you're doing. This is the year whereby when you go out and people ask you what you're doing, you are not trying to mumble and ramble and say this and this. You are very sure. You have taken time to discover and to be sure about where you're going. For most people, helpers will come to you, the people who want to shift you, the people who want to assist you, the people who want to lift you, the people who have the resources that you are praying eagerly for. And when they ask you what you want, when you are not sure, you can lose that opportunity, and the next time it will come again, maybe the next 5 years. It is a season where you have to be sure about what you're doing. Discovery. Maybe you even have some associations. You have always been in some associations, you have always been there, and you guys gist and talk and all of those things, and you are not even sure what your friendship is about. You are not sure what your community is about. You are not sure what the people you're speaking to, the people you stay around, the people you talk to, you are not sure what that thing is about. Maybe you're in that season of discovery. What's it about your friendship? What's it about your relationship? What's it about your financing? Are you sure you need more money, or there's something else that you really need to know? An exploration season. There's that season of exploration. That season of trying to really be on the lookout, be sure about where you're going, be sure about what you're doing, be sure about how you want to position and move around your life and carry on your life, and there is no guesswork. You know the issue and the problem we have in this generation? Too many people are packaging their indeficiency when they should sit to be exploring and to be discovering the actuality of their life. So you're trying to guess. And you see, most people, let me tell you one truth, you see those likes you see? Those likes, you have gotten a lot of likes, they respond to my comment, and many times you're sure when you see it that there is no fulfillment and joy to the things you're doing. That sometimes you're in doubt and feeling like, oh, is there joy and happiness? Does this really look like case? Should I really carry on with this? Should I move on with it? And you are so sure that you are not finding fulfillment in the things you are doing. Why not make this season an exploration season to be on the lookout for the things that you should really represent? So there is the exploration season. The exploration season. There was a time David was a shepherd. David was a shepherd. David was a warrior. David was a psalmist. David was an instrumentalist. When he got to a season, he knew that there was that role of leadership upon him when the oil came upon him. Explore. Check up. You want to be on the lookout. What are my core skills? What are the things I know how to do? Because I'm going to get to a point whereby you would have to sit down. I will show you like an actual strategy, 3 major elements that you really need to pay attention to this year that will change your life. So number 1, we have the exploration season. Number 2, we have the positioning season. Let me use business for example. Let's say for instance right now you say, all right, I want to go into tech. That's interesting. Now you're finding out that you're interested in tech. You're interested in starting a tech business. You're interested in doing amazing stuff in tech. Interesting. That's exploration. Let's take it to positioning. There are a lot of tech businesses around. What area of tech do I want to be known for? That's when you begin to position. What area of tech do I want to be in? That's when you begin to position. And then you begin to build emphasis, you begin to build visibility, you begin to draw attention to the place that you have positioned yourself. So you see somebody today you are personal development, something. Tomorrow you are a finance consultant. Next tomorrow you are talking about how to do something with social media. At another time you're talking about how to build the right system and strategy to be able to travel abroad. At another time you're talking about the fact on how to prepare nice food. Before you know it, you're trying to do many things, but you are not positioned anywhere. Such that when people see it and they are thinking and they are saying, we need competent right people that can do this, because you have not positioned to be able to attract the right people, they will not be able to place you anywhere. So positioning is that point that through your exploration, you have now been able to draw out a place of focus you want to stay in. This year, this season is a season that requires focus. But you cannot talk about positioning when you have not been able to first pass through the season of exploration, through the season of discovery, through the season of searching out and finding out and doing a deep dive and trying to gain a lot of things and draw a lot of things and pull a lot of things. Why? Because you need exploration before positioning. Now, number 3 season. Now that you have been able to narrow down, the next thing you now need is growth. So most people think about growth during the exploration season. No, growth should happen after you have decided where you want to position, after you have decided where you want to stay, after you have decided that this is where I'm going to place, this is where I'm going to buy, this is where I'm going to move, and then you now grow visibility around that area. Maybe I should have share a little idea for those right now who you're struggling to really make people know what you're doing online, and then you are not so sure. You share a lot of things and post and post and post. People don't really pay attention that much to the things you push out. You know what you have to do when you have explored? Choose a place you want to represent. Maybe you want to become a digital marketing consultant, or you want to become a new media consultant, or you want to become a international travel consultant or coach, or you want to become an author coach, or you want to become a business person, you want to become a finance person. Look at all of the people who you love, who you appreciate, who you listen to, who you follow. You know what they did? They positioned, they stayed there, and they started growing from their place of positioning. That is when your brand begins to grow. That is when people begin to perceive you differently. That is when people begin to look at you differently. Why? Because you have stayed in a place and you have grown from there. And you have grown from there. You need to sit down this year. That's the strategy of the season. Sit down this year. Pick a particular area you want to position at and grow it. Grow it. Grow it. When I talk about grow it, you grow in knowledge, you grow in visibility, you grow in presence. You grow in presence. You grow in presence. You grow in presence. So there is, number 1, the season of exploration. Number 2, the season of positioning. Number 3, the season of expansion. And then number 4, the season of reinvention. Reinvention is now when you now decide to upgrade, you decide to rebrand, and then you are now looking for new grounds. And maybe now that you have grown and you have been able to build a community of people who trust you, you can pivot to other ideas. You can pivot to other places. So, exploration, positioning, expansion, reinvention. So you can choose to now rebrand. You can choose to rebrand. 2018, I think it was around 2018, started, I just got this idea, got a lot of interest in all of that, and I got this idea to start something called Purpose Hangout. Because in that season, I was so dedicated, so interested about teaching purpose, getting people to understand things around purpose, definition of purpose, purpose discovery, how people can fulfill their purpose, how people can make money from purpose. I built like a brand around the concept of purpose. I did that from 2018 to early 2020, okay, before COVID became very intense. In fact, at the point we first started, before 2018 or around that time, we first started with online sessions. So those sessions, we invite people, we were having sessions on purpose, and then we now migrated. You can see exploration, positioning, stayed in purpose, and then we started growing a movement around it. We were going from city to city. We had Abeokuta, we had Lagos, we had Ekiti State, we had Ondo State, we had Ibadan. Then another session held in Port Harcourt. Just the ability to be able to grow. When that grew to a point, the next question was, now these people have found their purpose. Now these people know how to fulfill it. What is the next move? We needed to build an adventure of growth. You see, reinvention. You do not move from exploration to rebranding. You move from exploration to positioning to growth, and then you pivot. Those are very critical seasons you have to understand. The question you need to ask yourself right now, what season are you in right now? And what season should you be right now? What season should you be right now? Are you trying to mistake them? If you don't follow through those steps and those seasons, if you try to skip a season, you will come back to repeat it, because your outcome in the season you are in, the failures are actually going to show that you have missed a season. You have missed a season. It's like a young lady who, while you were young, you didn't learn how to cook, you didn't learn how to do it, and then for certain reason you went into marriage and did all of those things, and it is when you are in the marriage you are now trying to learn how to cook. You have to now repeat the season that was missed. That's something that happens with your life, with your career, with your ideas, with your initiatives, with your commitment, even with all of the things you put yourself into. What season are you right now? Have you skipped the season, and maybe you need to come back into it and then commit to growing in it? I hope this helped. I want to share something very quickly. Would you want me? Tell me. Let me see in the chat. Should I? I want to talk about what are the realities of this new season. What are the realities? You know, I know you have heard a lot of things. 2026 is going to be this. 2026 is going to be that. Should I tell you the truth? Should I tell you what the real realities are going to be? There are just 3 things you have to take notes. Are you ready? Yeah. Abigail, I can see you're saying yes, sir. Yeah. Are you ready? Should I tell you? Esther Matthew, I can see. Yeah, Henry, I can see. Should I tell you? 3 things you have to take note in this new season. In this 2026 you are in. I know after I say this right now, some of you will have to go and revisit your goals. You may have to go and re-edit your goals. You may have to go and review your goals. All right? Abigail, nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining. Esther, nice to see you. Thank you so much. Henry, these are my very, very amazing people. Very loyal friends from Growth School. Nice to see you guys. Thank you so much. Now, what should you take note? And some of the things I'm going to say, there were some glimpses of these things from last year. All right? Towards late last year. And there will be more of it in 2026. Now, number one thing you would realize is that in the new season and in this 2026, old skills will no longer be able to produce results. Old skills. All those manual way of doing things, they will no longer be relevant. In this particular season, you must be able to master AI tools, and you must be able to master intentional use of AI tools and a superior level use of AI tools. AI ideologies, you need to know them this year. And while using them, the ability to be able to initiate originality and connectivity despite your use of AI tools. They are the skills you need to learn today. In this 2026, you realize that most people are going to put out content and people will just eat straight up and just know straight up and say, now AI create this one. But you see, this year, you have to be so creative. You know, the old skill was using AI tools. But in 2026, the new skill will be an ability to master AI tools innovatively in a form that it connects with people. You're a content creator, and all you're just doing is to create prompt on ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, please give me a prompt that will be able to do this and that. And then you just get and copy and paste. And then you don't bring it into your own personality ideology and then push it out in a way that connects. I see a lot of posts on LinkedIn and straight up, I write this one, I beg, we can't connect with you. We can't even say it. What's wrong with your ability to be able to put in storytelling? Your ability to be able to keep people to stay from the beginning to the end of your post. Old skills, you see those old skills? Old skills now is using AI tools. The new skill today is your ability to be able to bring originality into the things that AI creates. All right, so old skills will stop producing results. Now, I'm going to talk about some industry. Number one, in commerce. If you are in commerce, like you're a business person, you sell stuff, you do things that has to do with a lot of transaction, data will be very critical. Data will be key. So which means you will need a lot of expertise around data analytics, data visualization, data storytelling. You need a lot of competence around data storytelling. You see, if you're somebody, you work like maybe an administrator, you do stuff in commerce, you do all of those things, you will need to learn data skills. Data skills, very essential. You may need to, if you are in that kind of business, you may need to hire the service of a data analyst. It's going to be a critical skill today. And when I talk about data, I'm also talking about research. I'm talking about research. This is not the era where, Unamdi just opened one online store now, and the business is doing well. Unamdi said after 30 days, he was able to make 12 million. Let me rush and go and open my own online store. I cannot allow only Unamdi to be making 20 million naira. And then you now went ahead and started the business. It's going to fail. The probability is going to fail is 90%. You know what? In today's world, you need the ability to be able to handle data. In this new season, data is going to be very, very powerful. Your ability to get data, your ability to own a community where you can harvest data, and your ability to be able to analyze data, tell story with data, master data, visualize data is a key competence that is needed today. A friend was sharing with me, one of the graduates from my school that I was his level advisor, was sharing with me recently that right now they are working on a contract that is going to take them out to an European country. And what would they be doing? All they are going to be doing will be data analytics, data science. And nice offer, they were going to be paying them in euro and all of that. That's how much organizations today are looking for people that can transform data, that can tell story with data, that can offer information with data in today's world. Data is going to be very critical. If you're in education, do you want to hear this? You want to hear this? If you're in education, maybe you're a teacher, you're a lecturer, you're a professor, assistant professor, senior lecturer, you're a school teacher, you're a school principal. One of the things you need to take note is that technology and distant learning is going to become a norm. Technology, ability to be able to use technology for teaching, for learning, and for study is going to become a norm this year. It's going to become a norm. It's going to become a norm. And you must be willing to adapt to it, to engage it, to learn the essential tools that will help you do your academic work. Technology, distance learning is really going to be very, very critical today. You will see a lot of parents today now saying, they need a mathematics teacher that will be able to take their son's mathematics virtually. It's going to be like a normal norm. You know why? Because today, because of the growth of insecurity in most parts of the world, people no longer want the teachers to come to their houses physically. They want the teachers to engage their children virtually. Zoom, Google Meet, a lot of those things. Writing tools, learning tools, it's going to be something you have to learn. All right? It's going to be something you have to learn. So let me talk about two more aspects. Then number 3, influence is going to become redefined. Influence is going to become redefined. Influence will no longer be numbers. Influence is now going to be performance. Influence is now going to be performance. So people will no longer say, this person has 1 million followers. Let's make the person this, or let's make the person an ambassador, or let's give this person our product. It's now going to be about how much numbers can this person get us if this person is our ambassador. So influence is going to be redefined. Influence will become redefined. So people will now look out for values. People will now look out for results. People will now look out for profitability. People look out for a lot of very essential things this year. So influence is going to be defined. And that's why your ability to be able to grow a community that trusts you enough, that love you enough, that like you enough, that can do anything for you is going to be very profitable. And then one more thing is that social perception is going to be more important than social media. Social perception. What social perception do you create? With your posts, with the things you say, even with your comments. So this year you have to be very careful with what you say under people's comment section. Social perception will be very, very important. And that's why you find out that most people, old tweets is haunting them. You'll see a lot of this happening today. People will just bring people's old tweets. When they are about attaining a particular ladder, they'll just show it out. Social perception, very important. Now, number two, number one is old skills will stop producing results. Number two, new opportunities will be required with unfamiliar capabilities. Unfamiliar capabilities will be like skills, like unfamiliar skills. You'll see this year skills like leadership, skills like management, skills like critical thinking, skills like budgeting, skills like teaching, all right, ability to teach intelligently. They will now become very, very important. And that's why you will see a lot of underdog influencers. Like a lot of people will normally you will not even see them. Their names are not very, very known, but like they will just become influencers like quickly. Why? Because they are now learning some kind of new skills that is projecting them faster than other people. And community leadership will be something that will be needed, and also distinction will begin to matter. Distinction, the ability to become distinct will begin to matter. And that's why you found out that when the evolution of platforms like OPay, PalmPay, Kuda, and all of those guys, Money Point, you see how they moved. There was no need. The instances where people didn't have to go to physical banks to queue. So you can be on your phone, open your account, submit all your documents, and in almost like 2 days, you already have your account active. Your account has everything that your normal bank account has. Distinction. There will be more requirement for distinction. The things that differentiate people, that makes them appear more excellent and better and more unique in some sort. You will need to bring a lot of uniqueness to the things you do. There will be that need to bring in a lot of uniqueness and me and them. Okay, so that's it about new opportunities will require unfamiliar capabilities. So you will need a measure of distinction. This year, as you push out your posts, you do certain things. Yes, you can model, watch other people, but make sure, let everything you do have a feel of your uniqueness. Okay, so let me leave it at that. The third one I don't want to mention because of controversies or certain things. All right, so let's talk about this quickly and then we'll wrap up. Maybe we'll take a part 2 series at another time. But let me talk about the positioning triad for 2026. The positioning triad for 2026. I want you to draw a triangle. I hope you know what a triangle is. 3 lines that are joined to each other. I want you to draw a triangle. If you have drawn it, let me know. Just let me see in the comments. Draw a triangle. Draw a triangle. Make it as visible as possible. Draw a triangle. You can get a sheet of paper. Draw a triangle because we have to do this together. Draw a triangle. If you have done it, just type dodo. If you don't like dodo, you can type jollof in the comment section. So I just want to be sure that a number of people have done it. Draw a triangle. Draw a triangle. Just draw a triangle. Draw a triangle. I'm waiting. If you have done it, just say done. Just say done. Just say done. Just say done. Done it. Tell me done. 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 Just say done. Or say dodo. Or say jollof. All right. I'm waiting. Draw a triangle. Have a sheet of paper. or get your journal, get a notepad, draw a triangle. Have you done that? If you have done that, you can say done. Done. The done, I mean, it's not the one that you say, Mama, why is done? No, it's not that type of. Abigail, you love jollof. Wonderful. Okay. Interesting. I've seen one person have done that. If you've done it, let me know. Interesting. Older, thank you so much. Thank you for joining. Interesting. Just draw a triangle. A triangle. All right, thank you. Who else have done that? Draw a triangle. Draw a triangle. All right, now there are three things that will be so critical and essential in this new season 2026. Three. Number one is clarity. Number two is capability. Number three is capital. Number one is clarity. Number two is capability. Number three is capital. Now, I want you to go to one of the edge. You know what I mean by, or let me say vertex. That's one of the pointing points, like, when you draw a triangle, if this is a triangle, this edge here is one of the vertex, all right? We call it vertex in mathematics. Vertex. So one of the vertex writes clarity. One of the vertex, that's where two lines meet. One of the place writes clarity. Write clarity. Now go to another one. Write capability. Write capability. Now go to the last one, which is the third one. Write capital. Write capital. Now clarity. Now when we talk about clarity has to do with knowing where you're going, knowing what you want to achieve, knowing the exactness of what you're trying to accomplish. So we have clarity. There was this time in the ancient past, there was this guy called Saul, who eventually became the king of Israel. For certain reasons, he was with his father's servant, and at that time, the house got missing. All right, the house got missing, and they were trying to look for it, doing all of that. They tried, one of the house got missing. Everybody tried everything, they could not see the house. And what did he do? They said, let's look for a prophet. Let's reach out to a prophet. And they saw Samuel. And Samuel told him, he said, don't worry, the ass is going to return back, and you guys are going to find the ass. Are you aware that that would not have happened if they were not sure what they were looking for? Clarity. Clarity is very important. Most people are not suffering because they are not doing things. They are suffering because they lack clarity. Most people are not poor because they are not working and because money is not coming in, but because they lack clarity. Some people are not clear on how much exactly do you need? What exactly do you need money for? How exactly should this money be channeled? Clarity. So we have clarity. Number two, we have capability. We have capability. Capability has to do with skills, talents, has to do with your gifts, has to do with maybe your intellect, your academic qualifications, and all of the things you've gotten. We have capability, the things you have the ability to do. All right, the possibility, the potentials you have within you. That's your capability. And then we have capital. All right, capital has to do with, when I talk about capital is not just money. Yeah, money is one. There is also something called social capital. Social capital. So you need both financial capital and you need social capital. Now, those three triads, let me tell you how the connections of the two, any two or the three can achieve for you. If you have clarity, and if you have only clarity and capability, let me tell you what will happen. It means that you would have competence without visibility. So right now, you are sure of what you want to achieve, and you have the skill to achieve it. That means that you have competence, but you don't have visibility. So you don't have capital. So like, for example, people will know, even you are aware that I can do these things, I can get this result out, I can achieve this thing, I can ensure that this comes in, I can push through, I can do this through, I can accomplish this through, and then you are so sure, you have the certificate, you have the intellect, you have all of those things, and then you are sure that you want to become that. You are sure that you want to accomplish that. But you know the problem? Because there's no capital, you are going to lack the opportunities to become it. So capital is what offers opportunity. So you see a lot of people, they are so gifted. Even sometimes you look at them and say, this guy is so good. This guy is so talented. Wow, this guy spoke to me and the depth of his wisdom. But people don't invite them to platforms. People don't talk about them. People don't recommend them. People don't speak about them. They lack capital. They lack capital. So this year, you must ensure that if you lack any of these three things, you build them and you have them. Have you watched people before? Maybe someone is doing something you know how to do, and then maybe you attended that event and you're listening to the person, and you're like, oh, if only it was me. If only it was me. If I just get access to the mind, if they just invite me for that thing. So you have clarity, you have capability, but you do not have capital. You don't have capital. So you know the direction, you have a skill, but you lack recommendation, you lack networks, you lack platforms, you lack exposure. So it's more like somebody who is doing so much, but you're only doing it in the dark. Nobody sees you, nobody talks about you, nobody shares your work, nobody even sees you as a big deal, even though you are so skillful. Let it not be you this year. You need a strategy to own every of those entities and elements in your life. Now, let me talk about the second one. If you have clarity and capital without capability, you know what will happen? You know where you're going, you have the networks, you have the people that can help you. Sometimes you have people who even share a lot of opportunities with you. But the moment you get those opportunities, you are so incompetent that people cannot recommend you again. So some people have clarity and capital. So they have social networks, they're social, they are this, they are that, they can speak, they can do all of those things. But they are not competent, they are not excellent. They are not driven by excellence. They are not motivated by excellence. They are not moved by excellence. You know what will happen? People will give you opportunity the first time, but they will not give you again. You get that? They will give you an opportunity the first time, but they won't give you again. You know why? Because of your lack of competence. Because of your lack of competence. And after a long period of time, after a long instance, after a long moment, after a long time in your life, you will just realize that even the capital you have will be off because opportunities will stop coming. So if, for example, someone recommended you somewhere and then you go to that platform, very big platform, or maybe you met that individual, very amazing individual, and that person, you did the work for that person, you didn't do it so well, and that person got called, please don't ever bring that person to me again. I gave him this to do, the person did not do it very well. You see, this year, you have to be excellent. Bro, sis, you have to be excellent, you have to be competent this year. You need capability. Now, another thing, if you have capability and capital, this is what most people have: capability and capital. They have networks of people, they have friends, they have opportunities, and then they can do the work. They have a lot of energy, but you know what they lack? They lack clarity. What will happen is that you will be doing a lot of activity, but you don't have direction. So you are making a lot of money, but there is no direction to what that money should do for you. You are doing a lot of jobs, but there is no direction to whether you are going to be promoted or you're going to get into a point of leadership. There is actually a need for direction. You need direction. You need direction. So you just see you are acting, you are involved, opportunities are coming, you are involved, you're doing all of those things, but there's no direction. And at the end of the day, you know what happens? There would always be a burnout. You just notice you always get tired about everything. You always get weak about everything. You always feel like, oh, why is this happening? You would always lack fulfillment. You're seeing opportunities, you're pushing in the work, you're doing a lot of things, you're bringing in all the interest, but all the time you are not encouraged, you are not empowered, you are not feeling like you're doing something that is worth it. You don't even feel like this thing you're doing is leading anywhere. At the end of the day, it leads to discouragement. And if you don't have the order, you will notice that you will not be able to go very, very far. Should I tell you what happens when you have the three? When you have clarity, when you have capability, and when you have capital. You can see the strategy is to have the three. When you have the three, what happens is that you will now build a strategic advantage. Is at that point, they will see the people who are trying to say they are competing with you, they're just seeing that you are moving. How far this guy? It's because you have a strategy. You are building strategic advantage. So you have clarity of where you're going. This year, have a clarity of what you want. Have a clarity of what you want for your personal life, for your personal development, what you want for your finances, what you want for your family, what you want for your business, what you want for your career, what you want for your calling, what you want for the things you have to do. You have to be very deliberate. By the time you're clear, you have built the competence to make it happen, and then you have the capital to be able to bring it forth, and then you will just keep having advantage. While others are struggling, even though it appears that they do more work than you have greater leverage than them. Why? Because you have a strategic advantage of clarity, of capability, and of capital. So you'll become relevant. You'll be able to build momentum. You'll be able to build drive. You'll be able to sustain your growth. You'll be able to move on and on. You continue to advance. It's not like you're a first-class student yesterday, you're no longer a first-class student today. No. You build strategic advantage. You build strategic advantage. You build strategic plan. All right? Now, there's something I want to give you, and I'm going to share that on the Telegram channel for Growth of Africa. Let me see if I can type it here. Let me see if I can type it here. Ooh. Let me see. Okay. Please hold on a sec. Okay, I want to see if I can type this. Okay, so this is what you do. Just go to t.me. You can write it down, or someone can type it for me in the chat. t.me/Growth Hub Africa. So growth is like GROWTH, then hub, HUB, then Africa. So t.me/Growth Hub Africa. So just join the Telegram channel. I'm going to drop something called a progress plan template for you. So it's like a template I built some days ago to help people always plan for progress. Why? Because I believe that progress is more important than goals. So the progress you are able to make in your life. So today you are able to make more progress than yesterday, means you are becoming better. And when you become better, everything around you also get better. So I'll be dropping it immediately after this webinar, so you can use it and also ensure that you make plans for the year, you make progress plans for the year in various areas of your life. So it contains certain questions you just have to answer. You don't have to submit to me. You just keep them with you and use them to monitor your life progress. Okay, so that's something I need you to take note. So I'll drop that on the Telegram channel and you will see it there. So I hope you learned today. I hope you got value. I hope you got value, guys. I hope you got value. Let me know if you got value in the chat section. And if you have any questions. If you have questions, I will be willing to answer them. If you have questions, I will be willing to answer them. Thank you. I hope you got value. I hope it was worth your time. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And finally, this is what I have to say. Many people plan. Many people wish for a very great year. But most people never have a great year. Make 2026 a season where you experience a lot of difference in your life. There is this story that was said at the time by Jim Rohn. He said there was a particular man who came to a particular place that appeared like a bush, and when he got to that place, the man began to really cut, he began to harvest, he began to prepare that place. He made it so beautiful, he made it so nice, he made it so amazing, and the place looked so beautiful. And it attracted and gained a lot of attention of people who came in there, and they looked at it and they loved it and said, wow, this is nice, this is amazing, this, all of that and all of that. And one man then came and said, don't just let it feel like you're the one that did the work. Don't just let it feel like all of these things is just about you. Are you aware that God is the one that actually made all of these things possible? And the man looked at him and said, did you see how this place looked like before it was dressed? Did you imagine and look at how it was before it? God didn't come down to come and make this place beautiful. He gave the land, he gave the rain, but he had to do the work. And one of the things you have to realize is that many a times people, majorly on the side of the world, are always waiting for God to do everything for them. But one thing you have to realize is that God has given you the brain. It's a responsibility to make use of it. It's not about what you don't have. The problem is what you have, but you don't know what to do with it. So I come your way again for part 2 of the strategic positioning for a new season session. Keep making the rest of your life the best of your life. Bye-bye. Cheers.